You were never supposed to become the Empress. You were born into a noble family, but not the kind of family powerful enough to decide the fate of an empire. Your father owned land, servants, and a respected name, but inside the imperial court, respect was never enough. Then, one morning, everything changed. A messenger from the palace arrived at your family's home carrying the emperor's seal. Your father read the letter in silence, then slowly looked at you, and you immediately knew something was wrong. The emperor was looking for a new wife, and your family had been chosen. You were 17 when you left your home. You remember that morning clearly. Your mother was crying, your father told you to be obedient, and your servants dressed you in expensive silk before placing golden ornaments into your hair. Just before you entered the carriage, your mother leaned close and whispered, "Never trust anyone inside the palace." At the time, you thought she was simply afraid. You were wrong. The journey to the Imperial Palace took several days, and when you finally arrived, the first thing you saw was the palace wall stretching farther than you could see. Red gates, golden roofs, stone dragons, armed guards, and hundreds of servants moving through enormous courtyards made the place look like something from a dream. But the moment you stepped out of the carriage, you were told to bow, not to your future husband, but to the palace itself. From that moment on, you no longer belonged entirely to yourself. You were taken to a private chamber where 3 senior palace attendants were waiting for you, and they inspected everything about you, from your clothes and hair to your posture and the way you spoke. One taught you how to greet the emperor, another explained when you were allowed to speak, and the third gave you the most important lesson of all. Inside the palace, never say more than necessary. You soon met the other women, and that was when you realized that becoming the emperor's wife did not mean becoming his only woman. The palace was filled with women, and every one of them had a reason to be there. Some were daughters of powerful families, some had already spent years inside the palace. Some had given birth to the emperor's children, and some were still fighting desperately for his attention. They were elegant, educated, beautiful, and behind their smiles, dangerous. You quickly learned that a smile could hide jealousy, a gift could be a warning, and a simple invitation to dinner could mean someone wanted to destroy you. Months passed, and eventually you were summoned to the emperor's chamber. You entered quietly, lowered your head, and tried not to show how nervous you were. You had imagined this moment your entire life, but when it finally happened, you realized something that would change the way you saw the palace forever. The emperor was not looking at you simply as a woman. He was looking at you as a political alliance. Your marriage could strengthen your family's position. Your future children could strengthen the dynasty. And your ability to produce an heir could determine your value inside the court. Everything about you had a purpose, but very little of it was personal. As the months passed, you slowly learned how the palace truly worked. You learned which servants carried messages, which officials could be trusted, which families supported, which princes, which concubines were gaining influence, and which smiles were hiding resentment. You learned that the palace had its own language, where silence could be a threat, politeness could be an insult, and a simple compliment could carry a hidden meaning. Then, one of the emperor's favorite concubines became pregnant, and the entire palace changed. Everyone congratulated her, everyone brought gifts, and everyone smiled, but behind closed doors, people began whispering. If the child was a boy, he could one day become the heir. And suddenly, the woman everyone had been smiling at became one of the most important political figures in the palace. You began to understand the real meaning of power. Power did not protect you. Power made you a target. Then, your own position began to change. The emperor started favoring you, your family gained influence, your name appeared more often in court discussions, and eventually, after years of political maneuvering, the emperor made you empress. The day of your coronation was magnificent. Hundreds of officials bowed before you. Thousands of servants stood in perfect rows. Your robes were covered in gold, and a magnificent crown was placed upon your head. You were now the most powerful woman in the palace. Everyone bowed when you walked past. Everyone called you your majesty. You had finally won. At least, that was what you thought. Because becoming empress did not remove the danger. It multiplied it. Now every decision you made could affect an entire family. Every person who approached you wanted something. A noble family wanted influence. A general wanted protection. A prince wanted support. A concubine wanted favor. And sometimes someone simply wanted you gone. You began receiving strange gifts, medicine from unknown sources, food prepared by unfamiliar servants, and letters with no names attached. You stopped eating anything unless your own attendants prepared it. Then you stopped trusting your own attendants. The palace that once looked beautiful now felt like a maze filled with invisible eyes. Every hallway had someone watching, every conversation had consequences, and every mistake could become evidence against you. One evening, one of your closest servants came running into your chamber with terrible news. A concubine had accused you of poisoning her. You hadn't done it, but inside the imperial court, innocence did not always matter. The accusation had already reached powerful officials, and your enemies were waiting for you to panic. So you did the only thing the palace had taught you to do. You remained calm, you investigated quietly, questioned servants, followed the money, and discovered something horrifying. The accusation had never really been about the concubine. It had been designed to destroy your family and weaken your position. You survived, but something inside you changed that night. You realized that kindness alone could not protect you here. You had to become careful, calculating, and sometimes ruthless, not because you wanted to be cruel, but because the palace rewarded those who survived. Years passed, and you watched new women arrive at the palace full of hope. Some believed they would fall in love with the emperor. Some believed they would become wealthy. Some dreamed of giving birth to a prince. And some simply wanted a better life than the one they had left behind. But eventually, most of them learned the same lesson. The palace did not care about their dreams, it cared about their usefulness. You also watched people disappear. A servant accused of stealing, a concubine who suddenly became ill, an official who was sent away and never returned. Nobody asked too many questions because everyone understood the rule. The less you knew, the longer you lived. Then came the moment that changed everything. You had a son. For the first time, you believed you had something that belonged entirely to you. But you were wrong again. Your son was not simply your child. He was a political symbol, a future heir, and a source of power that every faction in the palace wanted to control. Some wanted him to become emperor, while others wanted him removed before he became too powerful. You realized that becoming a mother had not made you safer. It had simply given your enemies another way to hurt you. You became more protective, more suspicious, and more distant. You began watching your own child the way you once watched the palace, searching for hidden threats, hidden motives, and hidden enemies. One night, after everyone had gone to sleep, you walked alone through the Imperial Palace. The corridors were silent, the lanterns flickered in the wind, and the enormous rooms around you were filled with gold, silk, and treasures from across the empire. You stopped beside a window and looked beyond the palace walls, and suddenly you remembered your childhood home, your mother's voice, your father's face, and the simple life you once had. Back then, you dreamed of becoming important. Now, you would give anything to be ordinary again, because you finally understood the truth. You were the most powerful woman in the empire, but you couldn't simply leave. You couldn't choose your own life. You couldn't trust everyone around you. You couldn't even know whether someone loved you or simply feared you. The crown on your head had become heavier than any chain, and the palace that everyone outside admired had become your prison. Years later, another young woman arrived at the palace. She stepped through the same gates you once entered, wearing beautiful silk with excitement in her eyes. She looked around at the golden roofs, the gardens, the servants, and the enormous halls, and she smiled. You watched her from a distance, and for a moment, you saw yourself in her. She thought she had entered a palace. She thought she had been chosen by fate. She thought the crown would make her free. You wanted to warn her, but you said nothing, because you had learned the oldest rule of the imperial court: never say more than necessary. You turned away as your crown shimmered beneath the lantern light, and behind you, the palace gates slowly closed. You had everything a woman could dream of: wealth, power, respect, a throne, and a name that would be remembered. But you had lost the one thing you could never buy: freedom.